What if I told you that you could delete aphids, slugs, and beetles from your garden using nothing but two pieces of scrap metal and the earth itself? No chemicals, no expensive sprays, just a hidden law of physics that big pesticide companies don't really want to talk about. Today, we're diving into the earth battery trick. It sounds like science fiction, but it's actually 19th century science making a massive comeback. We're going to build one, test it, and see why insects treat these two metals like an invisible electric fence. Imagine a garden where you never have to spray a single drop of toxic pesticide, no neem oil, no soapy water, and definitely no industrial chemicals. To the average person, this looks like magic. To a scientist, it's just a circuit. We are uncovering a lost piece of agricultural history. By connecting two specific common metals and grounding them into the soil, you create a low-voltage perimeter that acts like an invisible force field against crawling insects. But this isn't just about killing bugs. In fact, it doesn't kill them at all. It uses the galvanic effect to create a microcurrent that disrupts their nervous systems and actually makes your plants grow significantly faster. To understand why insects hate this, we have to talk about electro-culture. Everything in nature has an electrical signature: your body, the trees, and especially the soil. When we talk about the earth battery, we are talking about a galvanic cell. For this to work, you need two dissimilar metals. First, the anode, which is usually zinc. You can find this in a galvanized steel nail or pipe. Zinc wants to give away its electrons. Second, you need the cathode, which is copper. A copper rod or bare wire works best because copper wants to receive those electrons. When you stick these into the moist earth, the soil acts as the electrolyte. It's the medium that allows the energy to flow. Using the Nernst equation, we find that the potential difference between copper and zinc in moist soil is roughly 0.7 to 1.1 volts. That sounds tiny, right? You can't even feel 1 volt with your finger. But to a soft-bodied insect like a slug, a snail, or even an ant, that 1 volt is like walking across a live power line. Why does this repel them? Most garden pests, especially slugs and snails, rely on a constant layer of moisture to move. They are essentially a bag of electrolytes. When a slug tries to cross a copper wire that is grounded to a zinc source, its own body completes the circuit. It experiences a localized electrochemical reaction. It's not enough to cook the bug, but it is an incredibly unpleasant zapping sensation. It's a sensory overload. Then there's the ant factor. Ants use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate. When you create a loop of copper and zinc, you create a tiny localized electromagnetic field. It's like a GPS jammer for ants. They reach the edge of your battery and their internal compass goes haywire. They simply turn around and go to your neighbor's yard instead. All right, let's build the perimeter shield. You don't need a degree in electrical engineering. You need about $15 worth of hardware store supplies. You need 14-gauge bare copper wire, make sure it is not insulated, and hot-dipped galvanized steel nails because they have the thickest zinc coating. You'll also want some sandpaper to clean the contact points. First, sand the tips of your nails and the ends of your copper wire. Any oxidation will block the flow of electrons. Next, wrap your copper wire tightly around the head of the galvanized nail. Ensure a tight metal-to-metal connection. Now run the wire along the edge of your garden bed. It should be about an inch above the soil or resting on the surface. Every 4 to 5 feet, drive another galvanized nail into the dirt and wrap the copper wire around it. If you have a multimeter, you can check it yourself. One probe on the copper, one on the zinc nail in the dirt, and you'll see about 0.95 volts. Your garden is officially on. Here's the part most people miss. This earth battery doesn't just repel bugs, it fertilizes the plants. The microcurrent in the soil increases ion exchange. It helps break down minerals like phosphorus and potassium, making them bioavailable for the roots to suck up. It's like putting your plants on an IV drip of pure energy. Historically, this was called the Christofleau Method. In the 1920s, farmers were using giant versions of this to grow cabbages the size of beach balls without a lick of fertilizer. We're just shrinking that tech down for your backyard. To keep your earth battery running at peak performance, even when the weather gets tough, here are the essential pro tips for maintenance and optimization. If your soil is extremely dry, the electrical current will drop because there are no ions to move the electrons. To fix this during a drought, mix a tablespoon of sea salt into a gallon of water and pour it directly around your zinc nails. The salt acts as a powerful electrolyte, instantly boosting the voltage back up to that insect-repelling level. Over time, the copper wire will turn green and the zinc nails might turn white or crusty. This is a natural chemical reaction called oxidation, but it acts like a layer of rubber that blocks the electricity. Every 3 to 4 months, take a small piece of steel wool or sandpaper and quickly rub the connection points where the wire meets the nail. Keeping that metal-to-metal contact shiny ensures your 1-volt shield stays strong. When the ground freezes, the moisture is locked away as ice, which doesn't conduct electricity well. If you're growing winter crops like kale or garlic, drive your galvanized nails deeper, at least 6 to 8 inches to reach the unfrozen moist soil below the frost line. For your most prized plants, don't just run a straight wire. Wrap the copper wire in a clockwise spiral pointing towards the sky around a wooden stake next to the plant. This is an old electro-culture trick called an Aero-antenna. It helps collect atmospheric electricity and funnels it down into your earth battery circuit. If you notice the bugs returning, use a simple multimeter to test the continuity of your loop. Touch one probe to the beginning of your copper wire and the other to the very end. If the meter doesn't beep or show a connection, your wire might have a break or a loose wrap. A closed loop is the only way to keep the electromagnetic field active. Lastly, avoid treated lumber. If you have raised beds, try to keep your copper and zinc from touching pressure-treated wood. The chemicals used to preserve the wood can actually corrode your metals faster. Use small plastic or ceramic insulators to keep the wire suspended just slightly off the wood and in direct contact with the soil. We've spent the last 60 years trying to solve garden problems with chemistry. Maybe it's time we go back to solving them with physics. The 2-metal earth battery is cheap, it's permanent, and it works with the planet instead of against it. It's a silent guardian for your tomatoes and a nightmare for the slugs. Try this on just one pot or one small corner of your garden. Leave the